Yo, what's up guys, Dan Blitz here, back with another Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra video. Today, we're making another wish list. That's right, we're making our Season 3 wish list of characters that we want added into the game. I made a video like this for Season 2, and for a long time, it was my most viewed video, so thank you guys so much for the support on that. And honestly, just find it really fun just talking about all the characters I wrote on the game and kind of kits I have in my mind. And because I do love Squadra, I still love it no matter how many flaws it has and all that. I still love the game, and I'm super excited to see what new potential kits they add and what new characters they add. So we're doing another Season 3 wishlist. This time, I'm actually doing 6 characters instead of 5, 2 per role, and in an honorary mention. Now, I have set up the ground rules for myself. I have put 2 rules. 1, chill on the super omega hype stuff. Wishlist can be exciting and fun, but if I just said every season, oh, I want Vegeta, I want Gogeta, I want Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I want Beast Gohan, I want Ultra Instinct Goku, it'd get kind of boring. So I want to chill on the super omega hype stuff for now. Of course, eventually, let's say season 6, season 7, I'll let myself be like, okay, yeah, I want Vegeta Blue for the game, for example. But for now, I'll let myself get 1 or 2 depending on the character. But besides that, we're chilling on the super mega hype stuff for now. And my second rule, no repeat characters till 2 seasons after. So what this means is, I put 5 characters out for my season 2 wish list. If they're still, I have to wait till 2 seasons after of making my season wish list to add them back into it. So, I'll link my season 2 wish list in the description. But let's say, for example, I had Goku Black there. I can't just repeatedly say Goku Black every season. For the time being, I would not be able to say Goku Black again until season 5. So those are the only 2 rules for me. And it's funny I mentioned the rules, but I do have an exception. I do have an honorary mention to start this off, and yeah, it's Goku Black. Where is he? I'm shocked he's not in the game already. I'm shocked he was not base roster. I'm surprised he was not the final character released before or shown off for the game before the game came out. You've had Zamasu in the game since day 1. How are you gonna have Zamasu in that Goku Black? I understand, yes, Zamasu is way less hype than Goku Black, but to me, being able to run the zero motor plan bot lane, that sounds awesome, and he's easily my most wanted character. But I already talked in length about my kits and ideas for him and my season 2 wish list, so make sure to check that out. But yeah, that's my honorary mention. Now, let's go to my first new character I want in Season 3 of Gekishin Squadra. You've seen it, don't know, you know who it is. It's God Goku. Now, I want him as a technical character. So we're going to be starting out with our 2 technical characters first. Then we're going to go to our 2 damage characters, and then our 2 tank characters. So yes, I want God Goku as a technical character. Now, that might seem weird. I think people would imagine God Goku maybe be more damage, but to me, he would be more technical. A big appeal to God form is less on the strength and more about the technique and letting the God ki kind of flow through your body. And I feel like it has some of the more modern techniques used, or most unique modern techniques used in modern Dragon Ball. And I would also break up this kind of small problem that's slowly arising in Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra, where every Goku so far has been damage, every Vegeta has been tank, every Gohan has been technical, right? I know eventually we're gonna break that cycle, but I want them to break that cycle sooner rather than later. I think it's pretty boring, if we just know every Goku's just gonna be damage, every Vegeta's gonna be tank. So I wanted to start breaking that out slowly, and I think making God Goku a technical would be great at that. Now, as for the idea of my kit in his head, right? As technicals, you have some hard CC, projectiles, buffing, and can do pretty good damage because, technicals can do a lot of damage in this game, funnily enough. So kind of my idea for skill 1, and is this kind of the God shot, the kind of finger guns he does in the Tournament of Power, because I want this God Goku to kind of be an amalgamation of everything God Goku can do, from, Tournament of Power, Battle of Z, Super Broly, right? And we kind of have that in the game, Super Saiyan 3 is not just Boost Saga, it's not just Wrath of the Dragons, it's just not just Fusion Reborn, it's an amalgamation of all 3. So I think having an amalgamation of a character represent the entire form is awesome. So I would think this would be skill 1, kind of like Topo, where he does the finger guns, or he's just a basic rush attack. Either one will work. For me, I'm saying skill 1 just because I like how this looks, and yeah, that's just for my idea for skill 1. I just realized before we go any further, shout out Stray McCall for the background music. We're going to be playing a bunch of stuff throughout the whole time. make sure to check them out. They do great work. If you've watched any of my other discussion videos, you know I love their stuff. So we're gonna be checking them out a lot during this. So yeah, that'll be my idea for skill 1 for God Goku. Now for skill 2. This is going to be quite interesting because I can see this either being a 2-in-1 ability, like Ultimate Gohan skill 1 where he kind of does the circle from the ground and then the beam after. Or this could be skill 2, skill 3. So I think skill 2 is the God Mind where he kind of like held Broly down and stunned him. I think that would be great for skill 2 and especially for technical. Then the Rasengan that he does at the end can either be the second part of skill 2 or the skill 3. It really just depends on how you want to do it. I could imagine them doing like a 2-in-1 ability like Gohan skill 1, so this will all be skill 2. But I could also see him doing skill 3. But I think that'd be great for technical, just being able to just fully stun the enemy, and then you'll be able to do damage after the Rasengan while your team follows up. If they make this a 2-in-1 ability skill 2, I think skill 3 would just be a kind of general buff, you know, maybe just screams and it applies, you know, buffs to allies nearby, and it's a big AoE, kind of like old Kid Gohan's. I think skill 3 where he jumps an ally and the big circle comes around them. I think the skill 3. So maybe that could be it, or you know, you could do damage. Who knows? But you know, I'm imagining this is skill 2, skill 3. But if they wanted to, make this all skill 2, then make skill 3 kind of like a buffer. For his ultimate, you know, I want it to be the Dragon Smash, which, you know, just a big punch, but it shows up the dragon, and, you know, maybe it could do a big stun. Kind of like 18's ult, where it's just one big punch. But maybe, you know, the dragon could come out, do some AoE, or instead of just doing ult damage, it could, like, silence the enemy, stun the enemy. Maybe it could have an AoE after, where he'll punch, and then the dragon will, you know, explode after, hitting the team, silencing them. Just some more technical stuff, you know. Provided more buffs, debuffs, utility for the team. Now, because this is God Goku, this is supposed to kind of represent all the different kind of times Goku's went God in the series. I want them to do something cool for when Goku levels up his ultimate ability to the max rank. Think like the Gammas, where once their ability is maxed out, they can do the Core Breaker one time only. I think that would be amazing for Goku to do, for God Goku, where one time only, after he ults, he would turn Super Saiyan and be able to do the instant transmission Kamehameha, where this would do a lot of damage, you know, big damaging beam, because, you know, it's a one-time only, maybe it's silence, it's done, or if they didn't want to go that exact route like the Gammas, they can make it so where he goes Super Saiyan for like a couple seconds, and it powers up all of his abilities one time only. I think the damaging one would make the most sense, you know, his ult already would do a lot of damage, and good crowd control, and then he could do it one time only, where he could just stun the enemy. I think that'd be really cool. And I think God Goku as a technical would make the most sense to me, at least, for his role. And not his role, for kind of everything he does in the series. And would definitely break up, you know, every Goku being damaged. And I think it's a pretty hype form, you know. I love how God looks. I think I prefer God over Super Saiyan Blue. I think it mostly just depends on how they color Super Saiyan Blue. If it's more pink, I like it less. But if they get the red right, like the Broly movie, oh, I love it. But yeah, that's kind of my idea for God Goku. As for kind of his cosmetics, I don't know what his skin would be. If I had to imagine, it would probably just, you know, they'd probably do a boring one like Torn Geef to start off with. You know, we've seen that with Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku, where they've done this Torn Gi look. Not my favorite skins, but it is an easy thing to make, represents the series and all that. That could be an easy way to get a skin for him, but we've seen with Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, we've seen it with Tovo and Gotenks, where characters, and even Super Saiyan 3 to an extent, where characters still need to release with a skin. You know, obviously, if there's something basic and like, duh, they're gonna do it, like, you know, giving Vegeta the vest, giving Ultimate Gohan the Kai outfit. But if they can't think of anything, they're not gonna force it. So, I mean, if they really want to, they could do Torn Gi God Goku. They can maybe put him in like the Whis outfit or Whis Gi if they really wanted to. But I don't know what other skins they could do for God Goku. I mean, it's a Goku. Coming up with skins should be kind of easy, but yeah, that's just for the skins. As for his kind of MVPs and like intros, I have two intros in mind. I think for the legendary one, just do the ritual, the God ritual that, you know, they do with all the 5 or 6 Saiyans to give Goku God Ki energy. I don't know if they would do all of this because this would be kind of long as an intro, but I think just having everyone kind of hold hands with Goku and, you know, him coming out God, You know, we've seen with Gotenks that they made a Goten and Trunks model, so they're willing to make character models just for a character intro. Who knows, maybe down the line they may use, you know, Goten and Trunks as, you know, a helper, or maybe they could reuse those same models to recreate the God Ritual, but I think this would be an awesome legendary intro. If they don't want to go this route, then I think they would go what Dokkan did and kind of makes from the Broly initial teaser where Goku kind of jumps up and down, you know, does a big like excited dance, he's warming up, and then just turns God here, you know. And Dokkan, this is a Goku and Vegeta card, so both term God, but like here, Goku can do, you know, the kind of warming up, getting the limbs loose, all loose, and then just transform into God. I think that'd be an awesome epic or legendary intro, and I'm sure a lot of people would love that. In terms of what finishes he could have, I'm not too sure. But they could probably just do some cool punch or just Kamehameha, who knows, for the finisher. I'm not too sure, but I already spoiled it a little bit. But that's my kit for God Goku. Now to go into my next technical, who is Bulma. Yes, I think Bulma as a technical is one of the easiest decisions they could do, and I think it would work a lot. You know, Bulma wouldn't work in a game like Fighters. I know they already, you know, have an in-canon explanation as to why, you know, Ultra Instinct Goku can lose to Yamcha. But, you know, Bulma still being there wouldn't make most sense. I know Bulma's playable in Breakers, you know, which also makes sense. You know, character running away, just trying to hide, not necessarily fight. And if Bulma did decide to fight, it's more just kind of distracting them, or even using a transfer to transform to a different character. Or something like Sparking Zero, where Bulma would make most sense. Here, I think Bulma would make perfect sense, because it's a more technical supporting role. You know, just give her a jetpack, and that's how she flies. You know, that's what they did in Legends, where every character that doesn't fly, they could just give them a jetpack, so they're flying in the air. I think that would work perfectly for Bulma. As for what she could do, I mean, she's gonna have two main gimmicks, I would imagine. This is gonna be a basic rush attack. Just give her a gun. You know, have her be long range to shoot people. And Bulma's main thing, of course, would be using capsules. You know, she could use a capsule to use her skills. I would imagine, I don't know, let's just say some of her skills, like, let's just say skill 1. She uses a rocket launcher, or she takes a rocket launcher out of a capsule and uses it. You know, could blind the enemy, do damage, stun them, silence them, who knows. Right? As for skill 2, I think skill 2 and skill 3 are just other forms of capsule. Right? Imagine skill 2, you throw a capsule to someone and it heals them, gives them buffs and all that. Or skill 3, you throw a capsule at an enemy and it debuffs them and all that. Or what if skill 2, you know, she throws a capsule on the ground and it's like a massive healing ring. So let's just say if, you know, Zeno is on your God of Destruction, you can't heal. Bulma could put a capsule down on it and now your team could heal. At least a little bit. Not, of course, as strong as the God of Destruction, but at least a little bit. And, you know, we only have Boo as the healer in the game, so I think adding another healer would make a lot of sense and work for Bulma. You know, it's not necessarily her doing it, it's the capsules that she brought. Now, as in for her ultimate, I kind of got a little goofy with it. I think her ult should be her getting into a car and just running at you. And the car would explode if it hits you, do a lot of damage, stun, blind, silence, whatever kind of annoying crowd control they have in this game. But I think it'd be really funny just having Bulma just get into her car and just run into you. And I think it'd be pretty fun too, just having to control Bulma just riding in this car and then trying to hit your enemies. And then once you're in, once they're stunned, silence, whatever kind of crowd control would be, Bulma can then just use the skill 1 with the rocket launcher, or use her rush attack with the machine gun, maybe debuff the enemies with the capsule that she threw. You know, the team is like, okay, let's go in. Bulma can use the capsules on her team and support them. And yeah, I think Bulma would be a great pick. I know Bulma's not the most exciting character, but we really see Season 1 where they did Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Gotenks, where it made them feel comfortable enough to do God of Destruction Toppo, who also isn't a hype enough character. I think if they paired Bulma with, I don't know, Goku Black, Super Broly, of course, Vegeta, Gogeta, all that, you can afford to put unhyped characters. And I think Bulma would be perfect for this. And another reason why it should be perfect, Bulma has so many designs in the show. Now, I didn't specify if it was, you know, kid Bulma or adult Bulma. It really doesn't matter to me. You can do either. But I think if you went adult, you have so many skins that you can add to her. And of course, if you went kid or young Bulma, you also have a lot of skins to do. Right? Just imagine in game you get to use let's just say I would imagine they would just go Super Bulma, right, with the red scarf. You could then buy, Namek outfit. You could buy Science's outfit, Cell Saga, early Android Saga, Z or Cell Saga, GT Saga. What if they did, Super Broly? What if they did Superhero? Right, Bulma would have so many potential skins in the game, and as long as I think a really fun kid, which is her throwing capsules and supporting the team, that I think should be a great pick. And I think it'd be awesome to just have Bulma playable in like one of these PvP games. I know she's playable in Legends, but something like direct, like I know, yes, Legends is direct MVP, but I just think it should be awesome here as a more technical supporting character. Because we have characters like Ultimate Gohan, like Hit, where they are a technical character and do support the team, but they do a lot more fighting. I think Bulma would be awesome as a character to more directly support the team. Because right now it's really just Boo with his healing that supports. I mean, what support or what direct buffing does Krillin bring to the team? He's more about debuffing the enemy. 17 has the shields, which sure, the barriers out, so not correct. But yeah, those are my two technical characters. It would be Bulma and God Goku. Now we're going to get into our damage characters, and the first damage character I have, who originally was going to be the thumbnail before I chose God Goku, is Kefla. Look, we have 3 Universe 6 characters in the game. We have Hit as technical, we have Caulifla as tank, and we have Kale as damage. We are just missing one more Universe 6 character in order to be able to run a full Universe 6 team. Kaba is already a helper, and so far in the game, we haven't seen a character be both a helper and a playable character. Of course, that can always change, but we're just going to go on the basis that, if you're a helper, you're done, you're not playable in the game. And based on U6, the only other character that could potentially be is Frost, but I really don't see them adding Frost as a playable character in the game when they have Kefla right here, so I would imagine for Universe 6, they're going to do Kefla. And of course, Kefla is going to be damaged. I imagine most of the fusions are going to be damaged. Gotenks as technical was a great surprise. They can still do Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks if they really wanted to. I don't think they would. But it'll be really interesting if, so if they say Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's like Hank. Do I think they'll do it? No. Because damage is easily the most popular role. So I think making all the fusions damage would make the most sense. As for her kit, we're going to use a lot of Fighter's inspiration for this, because that's where I'm familiar with the most, at least in terms of kit-wise. I think skill 1, simple projectile, just this. Maybe it can hit multiple times, Think like Bojack left click or skill 1 where he just kind of throws the 2 balls out. But instead of hitting both, Kefla can maybe, chain them together. Maybe could have the more resources, like how Android 18's Destructive Disc you can use it twice. Maybe it could be 2 charges of it. Who knows? Because, this level 1 here, we see her throw like half of it, and then the other half here. Who's to say? As for his skill 2, I'd imagine, if I can find in the video, yeah, it'd be this kind of move, where she charges up and then dashes forward. I would imagine, at least in my mind, Kefla has always been a hyper-mobile character. So I think giving her a lot of dashes and mobility would be great. And the only character that there's 2 characters that have a lot of mobility, like direct dashes. There's 18, whose dashes are more linked on if she hits the enemy. And Oop, who has the 1 dash but has 3 charges. I think Kefla having multiple charges, I think just fits the character a lot. She's always hyper-mobile, she's super hyper, just moving over the place. So I think being able to charge this move, maybe in the game it could block projectiles. Like let's say, Goku is using a Kamehameha. Kefla can charge this move and take no damage, and then either choose to send it back to Goku, like her own blast like that, or use the mobility to just kind of run away or just cancel it or whatever. But I think giving a damage character, a way to kind of negate beam attacks is a good idea. I know we have Topo who can counter, but Topo has the displeasure of, if he gets stunned or if they burst down the counter before you activate it, he'll lose it. And I would imagine Kefla here could still be stunned while charging this, but I think just doing this on top of mobility would be great. I didn't think her skill 3 would be this hyper dash. Not the slam dunk that she just did there, but this quick dash that she's about to do right now. That one. where she just dashes across and it'd be used for repositioning. Just give her a lot of charges of that. Maybe gives her some buffs. I'd imagine she might be ranged or melee. A lot of characters, like, you can make a case for every character to be ranged or melee. Like, pick like Goku, like Super Saiyan Goku. He could be ranged as well, just firing key blast, but he's melee. While Super Saiyan 3 Goku is ranged, but he could also be melee. Kefla can be ranged or melee with their rush attacks, and just what if it was a dash and like, oops, dash just does untargetable damage. Maybe Kefla can work like Coolish Dash, where if it goes to an enemy, it does damage, and maybe you could do this big slam like that if it hits someone. If not, it's just general mobility. Or it might just be just that, and it could do a lot of damage, stun them, what have you. Then, of course, for her ults, I mean, there's only one thing her ult could be. It's this. This has to be Kefla's ult. Maybe it could be a big initial AoE, like Broly, and then go into the big beam like this, or it could just be the beam. Doesn't matter. I think both would work and give her a lot of utility. As we've kind of seen in this game, that big damage AoE ults are great for securing bosses, team fights, right? Like, if you don't have an ult like this, you're kind of a lot worse. I think a good example is 18, who 18's still good. But the fact that her ult, like, just a simple punch on an enemy, can't be used to secure bosses, can't, right, be used to kind of make people disengage or just poke them out at long range. She has to be melee range to do it. It's one of her flaws. So I think giving a character like Kefla, who does have this big beam, her that ultimate would be great. And I mean, that's what she does in the show, of course. As for her intros and MVPs, I mean, the easiest MVP would be the Fighters MVP, where it shows Khalifa and KO fusing. You already have the models done. Just recreate this. They could be them fusing, and to Kefla going hyper crazy, and then just, I don't know, make this the frame that it ends on when the enemy team has the Kefla. Or you can make it this, whatever you want to do. As for her MVP, I think you could just do this from Fighters, where she cheers up and then they defuse and all that. If you don't want to do all this, just end it where Kefla cheers. But I think that would be a great MVP and intro for Kefla. She's hyper mobile. Bojack is what maybe the best way to describe my initial kit for her. It's a hyper mobile Bojack, which that does sound really annoying because one of the things with Bojack is if you get on top of him, he has a very hard time getting up. But if having a Bojack that's hyper mobile sounds really annoying, and I think it would still work for Khalifa and Kale, because Kale also has that problem where Kale could do destructive damage from huge ranges, alright. But if you get on top of Kale, she has to either ult or she is also in danger. While Khalifa has a lot of mobility with her skill 2 that lets her jump on people, kind of direct enemies away. So and also can block key blast attacks with her skill 3 with the beam of light that goes up. So giving Kefla kind of a mix of Kale's damage with poking and Khalifa's mobility and key block charging, as long as it just an upgraded Khalifa that also has long range and just goes super far, I think it would work perfectly. I also realized now that I didn't talk about transformations. God Goku would not be transforming. I think if you were to do Super Saiyan Blue Goku, you would just do that's its own separate character that would just start at Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Bulma does not transform. Kefla would start at base form Kefla, and then go into Super Saiyan 2, which I did not. I just pulled in that shirt. Then whoop. But yeah, so I would imagine Kefla level 7 can go from base KO to Super Saiyan 2 KO or KO Kefla. Excuse me. So that's my idea for Kefla. Now we go on to our next damage character who I already spoke, Kid Buu. Now, would it be funny if Squadra got a Kid Buu before Dokkan got an LR Kid Buu? Yeah. But I think we need more Buu representation in the game. We have Majin Buu, who's the technical role and just traditional healer. And then we got Oob, which is kind of more of like a hypermobile attacker that, has range, of course, of his skill 1 and his ult. But he's gonna get that in your face. He's gonna use like the spinning key energy that he has on him and just rush attack you, right? So I think having a true other Buu would be great, and two other than Kid Buu. As for what he would do, we're gonna again go to fighters and show what he can maybe do. I have now. This is I don't know how they would do this exactly, but I think if they did this, it'd be really cool. Where one of my favorite parts about Kid Buu is just how long his limbs could be, and him. I would imagine skill one stomping the floor, and we're gonna show in a oh that's the wrong thing. Showing a Dokkan where he kind of stomps the floor multiple times, and it's at different ranges. I don't know where or how they would do it, especially in a MOBA. I don't know why this isn't playing. Let me refresh. I apologize. I think it'd be a great way to do it. I think Kid Buu would be, melee. But yeah, it's like all these different like ranges, like all this. I think it'd be a great way. Like imagine skill one just extends your leg, and it works like a projectile, sure, but it's just coming out of them. Alright, so you can either do it forward like that, or you can either maybe choose to angle it down and surprise people. Who's to say? But I think that'd be a great way to incorporate his kit. And I think his skill 2 would be turning people into candy like that, where he, did a beam on Goku and then turned him into candy. Why do I think this is big? Because it would give, I just keep spoiling characters, oh my god. It would give Oob's ability to take candy off of teammates in actual use. Because right now it has literally no purpose in the game except for another Boo or Oob on the enemy team, and they turn your team into candy. I think if Kid Buu just had a regular ability to turn someone into candy, of course it wouldn't be as long as Buu or Oob, but it's still the fact that turning people into candy could give Oob's ability a chance to actually be useful. And it could be a good way to CC, because a lot of damage don't have the craziest amount of crowd control, right? Like Goku, oh my god, I'm sorry if you heard that, I don't know what that was. Super Saiyan Goku has, this kind of stun after he uses the Hammer Crush, the leap with his Kaioken, right? He could do a stun after that. The Gammas has the initial stun when they do their pose. But besides that, there's not a lot of crowd control in the game for damage dealers. So I think giving another source of that could be good, and I mean, it makes sense. A Boo turning someone into candy could be cool. I don't know what his skill 3 would be. It could be, it could be another Kamehameha, like we see here. It could be a human extinction attack. It could be a grab like that, or basic Kamehameha. Who's to say? I just want Kid Buu to be a destructive monster in the game, and I think no better way to represent that than, or it could be this this Boo ball that he does, right? Just, just launch into the enemy team, just Boo ball into it, then maybe turn it to candy, or this uses all, which would be, him blowing up the earth would be a big AoE ball of death, like a spirit bomb, like Topo. Yes, while quite boring, and we have a lot of big AoE circle of death ults in the game. I mean, I am sorry, I don't know why that is happening. I hope it's not picking up in the recording. If Kid Buu, he blows up the earth doing this. I think if there's any other character to have a big ball of death, it should be Kid Buu. As for his MVP and intros, again, we're going to use his fighter's intro, where it could be him just waking up and just screaming. I think that could work as a great intro, and then the screen could be here. And then I don't have the video here because, unfortunately, also I forgot to mention. Shout out Naruto Trick Z XTV 3D for the Kefla video. But for Kid Buu, I think a great MVP could be him blowing up the earth and then rebuilding, regenerating himself. I think that'd be a great MVP. We're done with our damage and we're done with our technical, so now it's time to get into our final role, Tank. And I already spoke earlier, it's Super Buu. Yeah, I don't know, I like Buu. Alright, I think getting more Buu representation would be great. So here we go. We now have Buu as a tank. We have one for technical with Mancha Buu good. We have one as damage with Kid Buu, and then we have Super Buu as tank. How would this guy work? I think he would work by transforming multiple times. I do not know why that is happening. I am so sorry. And if that doesn't pick up, I'm getting random statics every now and then. I hope that's not picking up a recording. But Super Buu, what he would do is he would transform multiple times. Because currently in the game we have, most of the cast can transform at level 7 or just not transform at all, with the exception of Cell, who has his power absorption meter, where once that is filled, then he can transform the perfect Cell, so he can transform level 5 or Super Late like level 8 9, depending on how rough the game is going. I think Super Buu would have the ability to transform multiple times, and even potentially lock some skills from him until he transforms. I think skill 1 could be, human extinction attack. I think just big AoE around him that just, or as Rain as Dokkan calls it, just big AoE around him that just he'll be in the front. He'll be in the middle of the team or in the front lines, and just the projectiles will come raining down and just surround him like a rain. I think that works as skill 1. Then how his multiple transformation works, I don't know if that would be, you know, tied to a specific level or to the gauge or whatever, but I'm just gonna go off level. Let's say at level 5, he would then transform into Majin Buu Piccolo, where he has Absorb Piccolo, and maybe this can unlock his skill 2, which would be a special beam cannon. Now, it wouldn't work like Piccolo's, where he can, you know, get grade 3 charges and all that, and do a lot of damage. I think just small delay uses it. Then, let's just say level 6, level 7, he turns into Majin Buu Gotenks. Now, I think it would be instead of a Kamehameha, it would be a, what is happening? Let me refresh. I don't know why that's happening. Okay, sure. It doesn't work. It could be like, what if it was like a damaging Galactic Donut? Or he kind of holds people, he can lock someone in place and just deal damage to them, like a stun. While Galactic Donut with Gotenk brings people in, it's just a stun. That could work for skill 2. Then, or skill, there's this, yeah, this would be skill 3, skill 2 for social weak camps, skill 1 would be the Assault Rain or the special, or the Human Extinction attack. Then all of this, I don't know if it will be level 8 to level 9, level 7. Who's to say? Again, I apologize. I do not know why this is happening. Of course, it's happening while I'm recording. But all that to transform into Ultimate Buu Han. This would be why you're playing the character, is to get to this state. And his ultimate ability would just be him being able to just fly in, get a bunch of tank stats, and just fire this big ball at you. You know, he's flying in the middle of your team, maybe disrupting you like Kid or Majin Buu Goods, you know, skill 3, where he just runs around, he's there disrupting the whole team and all that, and all that. And all that, and all that. He's disrupting your team with a run, and then will fire this big ball that can deal damage, and he's in the middle of the team getting health, getting stats. He's super tanky, you have to pay attention to him. And of course, he's still going to have special beam cannons, he's going to have the Galactic Donut to hold people down, and of course, he's a Human Extinction or Assault Rain. I just think the idea of multiple transformations in a game is really interesting, and I don't know whether the character would represent that better than Super Buu, that transforms into Ultimate Buu Han. I don't know why that is. I really hope that's not showing up in the recording. But yeah, I think that would be the best thing from. As for skins, I don't know what they would do. I'll be honest, I have no clue. I guess I never talked about it with Kid Buu either. Out of skins, I don't know what to talk about it. Kefla, you could, you know, take the Universe 7 battle outfit that Khalifa has, or just design outfits for her. It shouldn't be too hard. I mean, her base outfit's literally just like Sports Bra and the Sweatpants. Like, it shouldn't be too hard to come up with that, but yeah, I don't know what skins or finishers, MVPs, intros, Buhan would have, but I do think a cool finisher for him would be him, like, kind of kicking you up and then, like, kicking you down and doing this, like, upside down punch. I think that would be really cool. I can imagine, like, cool camera angles that you could do with it. I think it'd be great. So yeah, that's my first tank of Super Buu that transformed to Ultimate Buhan. And for my final tank, it's Future Gohan. I know we just got done with a super broken Gohan of Ultimate Gohan. We're all scared of Toshi making this Gohan Ball Squadra. I know that. But I think Future Gohan would be such a unique pick for the game. I really hope this static is only on my end. I apologize if it is. And it's also, you can see the time is 2:41, so I do not feel like recording this and all that. In terms of Future Gohan, right? Yes, Gohan so far has been technical with Kid Gohan and Ultimate Gohan, of course. So breaking that up with a tank would be great. I know probably Beast Gohan would be a tank. I don't imagine he could be damage or tank. And then I would imagine Super Saiyan 2 Gohan would be the damage. So like I said, they would eventually break this this specific character being, and all their forms being a specific role. But again, I would just want them to break it earlier. And I think what better way to do is in Future Gohan. As for what he would do, I think a more damaging Masenko. I know Kid Gohan already has this. But I think a more damaging Masenko, maybe this could knock enemies back. Maybe this could just, lower the movement speed. Who's to say? But just a simple Masenko like that, Oh my god, the static is annoying me, and I hope it's not recording. Skill 2, I think, would be this grab that he does here. So he's going to punch up the enemy, or kick up the enemy, punch him up, and then he's going to grab them right here. I think a grab like that would be great. We already have Cooler's kind of empowered skill 3 with the dash that ends in the grab. But I think just a simple grab would be great, just to do it whenever. And for those of you wondering, yes, this would be one-armed Gohan. You know, these Dragon Ball games have really gone away recently with using one-armed Gohan. Legends has multiple one-armed Gohans. Dokkan has one-armed Gohans. I believe even Future Gohan and Sparking Zero has one arm. So this Gohan will be doing a lot of kicks for his rush attacks. I would imagine he's melee. And yeah, I just wanted to get that out the way. So we have a skill 1, skill 2. Then a skill 3, I think would be this barrier that he does. Now, I know, you know, we already have 17 for barriers, but I think Future Gohan being able to do barriers that can maybe shield himself and his team from Ki Blast would be great. Because 17 doesn't block Ki Blast. I think only his ult does. So I think Ki Blast or small shield like this could help the block Ki Blast. You know, I'd imagine skill 1, level 1, it'd only be only himself. Then it would get slightly bigger and bigger until it can maybe protect him and his ally, him and his team. And I would Future Gohan to me obviously seems like, you know, it's his last stand trying to protect, you know, the Earth and even protect whatever few civilians might be left. So having a barrier to him would make a lot of sense. Now for his ultimate, this might be controversial, but his ult is gonna work a bit differently in my eyes. Now, because when I think of last stands for in Dragon Ball, my brain goes to Future Gohan. Future Gohan is, to me, the definition of last stand in Dragon Ball. You know, going 1v2 against the androids, you know, giving this powerful speech to them about how someone will take his place if he were to fall, you know, doing his absolute best to hang on and maybe even potentially take him down to no avail, of course. So what better way to represent that than in Squadra? How would they represent that? I would imagine he would maybe do like an AoE yell that can do damage, kind of think like Photon Wave or, you know, Explosive Wave that Vegeta has, or just like Kid Buu, or not Kid Buu, Young Body Baby has, which is all around him. But then it would make him not be able to die for a couple seconds. I'm getting this idea from League of Legends. Now, don't look away, don't look away. This character Tryndamere, his ultimate ability, he roars like that, and his body turns red. And no matter what, for the next like 5 to 7 seconds, Tryndamere cannot die by anything. So, in translating into Squadra terms, if Future Gohan were to make his last stand and enter the state of not being able to die, he could tank a Spirit Bomb from Super Saiyan Goku and just not die. He'll be at 1 HP. And I'd imagine this last stand, you know, that's AoE, you know, could do damage, can knock back, could be good for securing buffs. Might be able to buff the allied team, because I think that'd be pretty interesting. You know, then it could work really well early on in the game where, you know, you're buffing up your team ally or your teammate who's in lane with you who can just enjoy the buffs, and then you use it when you're low, and you just can't die for the next couple of seconds. And who knows, maybe by then, imagine a Buu heals you, and you get back to full health. You know, use the barrier to shield yourself from a clutch Kamehameha, and you live. Or if you end up dying, well, you made your final stand. I think that would work the best for Future Gohan. That's, in my brain, the character that does the most last stands. Is the definition of a last stand in Dragon Ball in my eyes. And I think it would just be, while it is really annoying in League of Legends, do not get me wrong, it is so annoying in League of Legends having this character that you're doing the 1v1 with him, you're about to win, he then activates his ult, he can't die for the next 5 to 7 seconds, and then you die. And he lives at like 1 HP because he activated the ability. It is super annoying, but I think it'd make the most sense on Future Gohan. Now, I don't know how they balance that. I hope it's not that annoying, but I just think Future Gohan having this kind of last stand, living on 1 HP for a long time would work best. And of course, it would have this big AoE that can buff your team, buff yourself, all of that. With that being said, we have made it to the end of my 6-character wish list. To wrap things up, we have an honorary mention of Goku Black. But with our 2 technical characters, we have God Goku and Bulma. I apologize yet again for the statics. I did not know why that has happened. It has literally not happened all day today. And of course, as soon as I start recording, it happens. Of course. So those are our 2 technical characters, God Goku and Kefla. are God Goku and Bulma. And our 2 damage characters are Kefla and Kid Buu. Then our 2 tanks are Super Buu and Future Gohan. Do I think any of these characters actually will make it to Season 3? Who knows? It'd be really fun to see him. I predicted Broly as a tank in Season 2, and Broly did end up coming for Season 2, though, as damage. It'd be funny if, they made God Goku damage, or they made Future Gohan technical. Who's to say? But those are the 6 characters that I want in Season 3 of Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra. Of course, I still want all the characters I listed in Season 2, but these are some more characters I wish for Season 3 of Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Stay tapped into the channel if you want to stay up to date for everything Season 3 related to Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra. I am sorry once again for the static throughout the video. I genuinely hope you guys cannot hear it, and if you do, I apologize yet again. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!